What's good, everybody? This episode of the podcast is sponsored by DistroKid. They are the go-to for digital music distribution and the easiest way for musicians to get their music onto Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, TikTok, YouTube, and more. They offer unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their earnings, getting your music onto platforms and into stores 10 to 20 times faster than any other distributor. They help with cover song clearance, automatic splits, and they offer all kinds of tools and templates to help you get the most visibility for your releases. I dig this company and appreciate their business model that offers more features and tools than any other distributor while doing it at the most affordable price for solo artists, bands, DJs, studio artists, and any other creators that are making music or producing music in their home, and they offer label services as well. They've got 3 different tiers that they offer to creators that start as low as $22.99 a year. That's just $1.92 a month. And even their top tier is only $7.50 per month. And the best part about DistroKid sponsoring the podcast is they are offering Dan Cable Presents listeners 30% off their first year of service with DistroKid, making their affordable prices even cheaper for you. I will put that discount link in the episode notes. It will also be in my Instagram bio. Big shout out to DistroKid for sponsoring this podcast for more than 3 years now. Much appreciated. Now let's get into the episode.
Look down at the
What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dan Cable Presents podcast. Thank you for tuning into the program once again. If this is your first time listening, thanks for checking out the show. You can find fresh episodes coming at you on Tuesdays, and if you want to help support this thing in a free way, you can do so by clicking subscribe on iTunes, clicking write a review, giving the podcast 5 stars if you feel like it is deserving of so, and that will help propel this thing into the tops of those iTunes charts, and just giving strangers more awareness about the show. Just a great way to contribute to the growth and sustainability of this thing. Appreciate the hell out of all the folks that have already taken the time to do so. If you're not listening on Apple, just hit like, follow, subscribe wherever you are listening from. Tell a friend about the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, you can hit subscribe there. Hope everybody is doing well out there. Stoked to get in to episode 444 with the time traveler himself. Old Grape God, aka Tron, is back on the podcast. This was a super good hang. Tron is just one of these one-of-one human beings that has his hands in a lot of different mediums, whether it's rapping or producing beats or embroidery and design work or painting. Just an incredibly inspiring and prolific dude. I think a lot of people think that they're artists, and a lot of people want to be artists, but some people just are, and that is definitely this dude, Tron. Just a great chat with him. Great to catch up with him on the mics. It had been about 3.5 years since his first appearance on the show, and 444 is significant to his artistry, so I was stoked that he reached out about being the guest for episode 444, and it couldn't have come at a better time, as I just had his close collaborator and our mutual homie Alex Meltzer on the cast for the previous episode 443. They have a project called Coworker, and they recently just dropped their first EP, and we definitely talk about the dynamic of that creative relationship a bit during the chat. So if you're new to the cast and you enjoy this one, I encourage you to go back and check out the Meltzer episode and the ones that precede that as well. But I'll put all the links in the episode notes so you can keep up with Old Grape God, so you can time travel with Tron. And to kick off episode 444, we are going to play a track from that Coworker EP, which is called Timu Death Grips. This is the opening track. It's called Death Grips. Now let's do the damn thing.
First records gon' break up, and every day I wake up, somebody got a problem with Tron. I'm just trying to cake up that sleep you can't make up. Please don't break my bond. It was you all along. It's my true calling. I'm allergic to you douche nozzles. Let me get my bread. If while you styling, they won't piss on your grave. They'll go GG Allen. Never beg for a pardon or pay for a lame's jogging. Carmen ain't even from San Diego. Hey, yo, caveman ain't carrying the club. Kissed by a rose unsealed. Your pros and shit, my shit goes like the bricks cut.
No, I don't have the same tea every time. I'm trying to like. I'm just trying to not have coffee all the time. And like, I don't know, because I feel like I want to just drink coffee all day. Like I was with Melts. Melts is a bad person to be around with that shit too, because he'll just keep draining with me. Like we were at Tom's restaurant today, and I'll just sit there and crush 6 cups of coffee. Like it's nothing. So I'm just trying to like at a certain point, like have the morning coffee and then in the afternoon move to tea.
Yeah, I respect it. I know on those days when you're at work or something, then you like always have it on tap. It's just fucking, it's easy to abuse it. Next thing you know, stomach's just fucked.
and then I'm up and I'm like, why can't I go to sleep? It's like you're just fucking ripping coffee all day. Yeah. And I think because I like drink it black, I don't feel bad about it. I'm not like just like pumping a bunch of like creamer and shit into me. Yeah.
So it's just the pure shit.
It just makes
none of the extra shit.
Makes it easy to just keep doing it. But I do notice that I've been feeling a bit better when I'm just like trying to do the green tea thing or something. Or if I can start there. Somehow.
Right.
I just like the taste of black coffee so much. Though,
I know. There's nothing like it.
I just want it, and I feel like the decaf coffee almost like fucks with me more in somehow.
I never have it. The decaf. My girl had to switch to decaf because caffeine just like stopped working.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I had a late night decaf coffee at like 9 p.m. the other day, and I just like. Something about the small amount of caffeine that's still in there.
And it tricks your brain. Because your brain's expecting it. Yeah.
I have that same shit though, like just take, I don't know. You ever just like smoke a CBD joint that's like.
Yeah.
Even something like that. Like I feel like it makes me feel weirder.
Yeah.
Almost.
Sure. Yeah. Because your body's used to it being this one recipe with nearly the same taste.
Yeah.
It's trippy,
Yeah, but
the microdose.
It is something. I don't know. I'm definitely. I don't know how to escape it, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I respect it.
I'm working on that, and then I just got these like mushroom focus gummies. I don't know. It's probably some bullshit.
It's like
though.
the lion's mane.
Yeah, something like that. We'll see.
That shit. It can work. I've like, I'll take it and I'll be like, I'm doing something good. But if you don't take it all the time, how do you really know? And then it's so abstract. Like, oh yeah, I'm thinking better. I mean, like, I'm pumping myself with stimulants all the time. Like, I don't know who to credit here. You know what I mean? If there's a little lion's mane or chaga in there,
Yeah.
But it's good for you.
Do you notice that? I don't know if you put something weird in your system that like creatively it like can fuck your day up in any way.
Not anything like legal over the counter type of things. None of that adaptogens or anything is really gonna affect me creatively. but yeah, I don't think I've noticed really from the mushroom stuff. But I will be like, a little ginkgo biloba or ginseng and stuff. That feels good.
Yeah.
Vitality, but ultimately all you really need is water usually.
Yes. Yeah. That is true. I don't know. But then I don't know, like last night I had a couple of those mushroom gummies before my hockey game and I played pretty well, so now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I need to be on maybe it is maybe it's the mushroom gummies.
Yeah, no, I mean shit, especially when you're applying it to an activity. I think that's like the only way to really tell, cuz I'm just guilty of like, I'll just take some shit and then just be like doing normal things, you know, not like, you know, I don't drink like the energy drink and then go exercise. I like drink the energy drink, then like go do some work or like go sit on the computer.
Right.
You know, it's like things that I'm not really using all the vitamins and, and the things for what they're intended.
Yeah. When you're working on painting, like, are you more inclined to use different things versus like making music, or like, are you more careful about using anything, like whether it's like drinking or smoking or whatever?
Painting, I am usually like so focused in on it that I like forget to drink or smoke as much. Like I'll smoke joints and shit, but most of the time I'm just like vaping or fucking, you know, sipping coffee or beer or whatever, shroom coffee and shit. But painting, I like that. I'm like way more focused and like just like it's the type of thing where I'm not even thinking about as much. When I'm making music, like I can't not the resist the I'm music. It's like, all right, what are we trying out today?
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, let it run, because I feel like music I can make in any condition. Painting, I gotta be like a little bit more, I still have to use my hands a little bit more precisely. But music, it's like, even if I can't deliver words, I can still like get out some ideas, you know, instrumentally, you know.
Yeah.
So that I'm like, that's when it gets dangerous, if I'm working on music for 3 weeks straight and not painting as much, which is what I have been doing. It just sets me up where I'm like, well, I guess it's a little bender, because like it's just part of the ritual, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I made all this music.
Yeah, you're being productive.
I'm being productive.
You're doing the thing.
Yeah, while destroying something later.
Versus like the embroidery stuff, I would imagine you have to be like real
Embroidery,
focused
yeah,
in.
no,
like,
embroidery, I'm blocked in. I'm fucking clear-headed. I'm like, you know, that's the thing where I'm like not even smoking before that. You know, I'm just, because those are big machines that I like am so worried about doing something wrong or fucking up that like, yeah, I'm just like, this is not, I get creatively when I'm like, because the creative part with embroidery shit is all like in the design and like, you know, how I digitize the file and all that stuff. But when it comes to actually like the production, there's no freestyling in there. It's like I have to do all the things super legit. So
yeah.
Yeah.
You need the full brain capacity to make sure you're
exactly.
operating this
So
machine
I'm gonna
correctly.
gotta be straight there. So it's different, you know, different environments. But yeah, when I'm home making music, it's like shit.
What about with the, like when you're creating designs for embroidery, does that seem to like occupy a different space when you're creating like visuals for painting?
Yeah, I mean, like the embroidery design stuff is just things that I'm thinking about all the time. Just random ideas or flips or things that I think are funny. Most of the time it's just like things that are like amusing little flips for me. And then, yeah, the painting stuff, it's way more deliberate of like setting aside time and like refining that process and all those things, where it's like, you know, how I set up the painting and trying to level up each time with the painting things. With embroideries, it's like, it's basically if I have one singular idea, that's what I'm trying to get off, and then it's like then trying to get really good at digitizing and like designing the files so that they like look super pro. So if I have something that's funny, it doesn't look like cheap, you know, mall shit. It looks like the same quality as like, you know, a new era thing, but it's like, you know, made here. But, you know, that's the goal, at least, is to be like the quality as high as possible while still being, you know, fun for me.
Yeah. Especially with like the bootleg stuff, I would imagine, like where you still want it to come across as almost looking like that exact thing with the subtle difference.
Yeah. No, I'm that guy in those fucking, in the videos from the factories being like, you know, it's pretty much the same thing, you know, just different logos, you know, like I am so fascinated by like bootleg culture and like, you know, just knockoffs and things. They still have to be made. And a lot of times there is craftsmanship there, just the materials are cheaper. There's other shortcuts and this and that. but they still have to be made, and they're still made by somebody who is like taking a lot of times just an image of something and inferring, like, you know, how to remake it, and doing these other processes, building these other tools and machines that are to make essentially fake things, but you can still put them on, you can still like wear it. And so, you know, I'm really fascinated by that shit, and like, you know, forgery and things like that, where it's like this perceived value of, you know, the wrong person making the same product is like something that's really cool to me, because I think that there's like, it's like translates to art and, you know, this other classism shit and in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, that's why I'm like fucking quality in like the bootleg shit, where I want to be like, I could remake any uniform for like any chain or something,
like, so with the coworker stuff.
Yeah. And so I'm like trying to do that, where I show up and I'm like, look, like, how do I have, you know, see from corporate, you know?
Yeah.
And it can get you in places, you know. They need me on the next Ocean's 11 or whatever, you know. The merch guy, costume department.
Yeah, because it's very much like still like this one of one idea, even though you're like pulling from something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's all small run shit, and usually it's just like this one idea I got to get off, and sometimes I'll sell a handful of them or none, and then I just have one of everything in my house, you know.
Yeah.
These are the ideas, but it's just good testers, and it's just a way. I mean, these days, you know, shit that takes itself seriously is not necessarily going to sell as much as things that are just fun and lighthearted. One funny idea, like, you know, and people I feel like a little less guilty about that, like, copping something that's like kind of a joke and it's virtually signaling their humor, as opposed to like, this brand I can afford, check it out. Not that exciting, and just says the name of the company on here, you know.
Yeah, you're definitely like tapping into something with it that's like evoking some sort of like, oh shit, he did this flip.
Well, and it shows that I actually put effort into making this thing happen, as opposed to like a tweet. You could just tweet like all my embroidery designs. You can essentially, it's a pun or something, but like it's like to bring it to life, to go through the steps of like, you know, reinterpreting, matching the font, scaling it, redesigning, because a lot of times I'm taking shit from super low res like screen grabs or something like that, and just like inferring it, trying to match the font, redesigning it, and then translating it to the embroidery software, then writing it, and then finding like the blank where it'll look dope on it and look natural, and like doing all that, and then creating the thing with no guarantee, and then like making the one, posting and seeing what happens is just, it's fun to me. It's like a little gamble off these one ideas, but I still like, I have to go through these other steps to see it out. It's not just like throwing it up on like a print order site type of thing, where like, you know, you can mock up something in Photoshop and then people can technically buy it, and I used to have that on my site a lot more for my stuff, but like this, I'm like, no, I like spent the time, I made the thing, and like, you know, I made that effort in there, where it's like a little bit extra in my mind of like applying that craftsmanship, even if it's to something that is like unserious, you know.
Yeah, you're not just like putting up a picture of a concept. You're like putting up the photo of like the actual final product.
Yeah, and it's something that would feel like, on all my shit, I like the idea of like the shit that you find that's like crazy in the Lost and Found or the Goodwill, or it's like your grandpa's old hat or something, and it's like, why the fuck does it say this? Like art typos, whatever, you know, this stuff. That shit's just the coolest to me, because it's like, it's on the time travel type of vein, and it's like these things that are just, there's so many of these different ones, and you know, there's some people that have been trying to tap into that a little bit, little meme accounts and those shirt ones, and a lot of those ones are like really contrived. And so, like, you know, I'm very intentional about my jokes, are like trying to be these very thought out little bits that I have, you know, for my comedy at least.
Yeah. Is it easy to know what like to discern like what is cheesy and what like feels like authentic to you in that way?
I mean, I think shit that is like too obvious or too current of things, if it's like stuff that would look like that company would put it out themselves, I don't know how to describe it, that part, but anything that's overly sexual, I feel like is usually fucking just cheap.
Yeah, it's kind of hacky.
Yeah, hacky, and like, I don't know. It's like a thin line. I'm in the funny T-shirt business, so it's like I can't really be snobbish about it. But that's like the thing with it. There's like a nuance to it and taste, and like usually I'm like pulling from references of like high fashion shit and or streetwear influences, and then these other internet culture, internet memes, or just music thing, whatever shit that's interesting to me. Most of the time things that just make me smile to see.
Yeah.
And so, I know that there's other shit that's more hacky and, gas station shit, or trying to be ironic and stuff like that, where it's like, you can pump them shits out for sure, but it's just like kind of the annoying kid in classes, like jokes, or if like, you let your little brother fucking tell you all the things, that's part of it. But yeah, who's to say?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like your stuff usually doesn't feel quite as on the nose.
Yeah.
It's a little more subtle, but yeah, all those details like matter so much. Like to dial in that font so it looks identical, so that the double take effect kind of happens when you do just see it at a glance. Like when you see the time travel plaid pantry vibe, which is such a cool like just nod to the city.
And that's the thing, it's just
specific.
That's reflective of here. I'm not trying to not trying to do anything too global necessarily, but like but yeah, the stuff here, and then it's like a little flip where I can make it look like a little hourglass, and I'm like, these little things, that shit's fun. I used to love that about streetwear. And then the company I work for, they do the Trailblazers, and they do all their stuff like is more basketball focused, Northwest things, and so I have ideas for stuff that is things that they would never do, but it's in that same line where it's a little tongue-in-cheek and like reflecting of culture and the things that you experience, and for your little niche of stuff, and that's like what you have to feed in these things. And like for me, with like doing the time travel label and shit and legitimizing that and working on that, it's like having a bunch of fucking really dope merch that like you make yourself and have complete control over is like, that's like a nice head start, where it's like there's brands and labels that have been around for fucking ever that are having still really cheap stuff. They're not making good profits or whatever. They don't have that shit figured out at all. And so it's like, well, at least if I can have this one element that is not necessarily the main focus of it, but if I have that shit way above and beyond like the average for my peers or whatever, then that gives me an advantage in a way of, that I don't have to compete as much there, where it's like, nobody else is. Now these rappers embroidering like me, bro. Like, I'm sorry. No one's put the years in, because it's like a thing that not a lot of people are going to see the value in, like how much time that I've actually put into it to get good and understand it, and like how I'm constantly trying to like learn that shit, as much as most people are putting into their music, It's like, that's how much I'm putting in embroidery, trying to learn it.
Yeah. Are you, does it always do the ideas always translate, like the ideas that you have for embroidery, or do you hit some dead ends sometimes where you're just like, this just isn't going to hit the way I like saw it in my head?
It's a matter if I'm patient enough to like order the proper blank to put it on and stuff, and not just slap the design on like the first thing I have on hand.
Yeah.
Because like, there's just, I get excited about it. I'm like, I gotta put this on something. I gotta post. I'll just post whatever I sample it on as the thing, and then just post it an hour after I make it, and not do a real shoot or anything like that. And like sometimes them shits hit, and so It's like hard to say where it's like the approach where there's times where you spend a lot of time on it and doing the photos and like doing a proper drop and doing the copy and all that shit, and the algorithm just doesn't give a fuck. And there's times where I'll just passively tell my girl just like take a picture of me wearing the hat while we're getting a beer like after work, and then that'll do better.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's like, yeah, for me, most of the things, it's like I want to see it through into a physical thing, and if it makes me smile once I make it and I show it to my friend, he smiles, and then it's like, all right, that's cool. It didn't cost me that much to do the thing, but me having to make it and do all these other steps, kind of in that I'm like evaluating through if it's worth it and stuff. But for the most part, like, I'm just stoked on it if like if I digitize the file well, and like if it looks like super clean after my first pass at it, because a lot of times you have to like test it a few times to like get the file right, because it sews out different than how you'd expect. So like if I get the file right, then I'm stoked on it from that technical level. But like the ideas and stuff, it's all pretty low risk shit. I'm not like, I'm not doing super like polarizing things, and I'm not trying to do anything too crazy here.
Yeah. But the hunt for like these, making that file right is like a part of the thing that you enjoy.
I love it. Yeah. That fucking satirical graphic design, I guess. And then just, the bootleg shit is just, it's super fun to me. I've always been fascinated by it since like forever, because I've always been like, I was like super into sneakers and clothes when I was a kid. And I would buy like fake shoes online, like SpongeBob Dub Zeros and shit, which for people who know sneakers, it's like a famous fucking, I'll be like, hey, they got these shits on fucking superkicks123.com, and this shit doesn't drop for 6 months. I'm just going to get them. And like, they're Jordan 11s, but like the soles are Jordan 1s and they're SpongeBob, and it's like, and they're clear, and like, I'm like, they're made at the same factories, and I bought all sorts of fake shit. Every time my mom or someone would go to New York, I'd be like, give me some like fake Louis.
Yeah.
I have a fake Louis wallet that I'm using right now, and it's like fucking, I'm so fascinated at this like fucking passable, the craftsmanship to like make something passable, but it still exists,
Yeah.
And that's like fucking, that's what all these artists are, you know what I mean? And that's like the fucking, why we call it the Coworker Project, the Timu Death Grips, like it all ties into like, it's all like the whole thing of this fucking, relation to like authenticity. And if something exists only in relation to something else existing that is the supposed real thing, but things can exist fully as being just like a spin-off of this thing, and that's where it exists everywhere, you know what I mean? Like how many Young Thug spin-offs there are in the world.
You just create infinite
and all
worlds.
these people, all these artists, complete successful careers. They're doing good. Like they're doing full careers, and they're another version of this artist who is still active and is still so it's just like this fucking chicken and egg thing. And that's the beauty of like the way culture moves and society and all that stuff. And I think it all ties into it. And being Southeast Asian and shit, like we're usually the ones making all this stuff and bootlegging the shit and making the real shit, and selling both. And it gets pretty ambiguous of what is real and what isn't when it's like, but I get 4 Louis bags the price of
right,
half of one. I can deal with the pride there, of this fucking, of it not being the real thing.
How many people are going to come up to you and try to identify the fake anyway?
Also harder to get fake shit than real shit. You go into the Louis Vuitton store anyone going to Pioneer wherever, you know, I don't. Well, that probably closed down in the pandemic. That's probably long gone.
I don't know where people are actually
I don't
like
think we have one.
physically going
We have
into a
one.
place to
They got them.
Washington Square or something.
Yeah, they got them. You go there, you get a receipt. They give you a fucking NFT QR code or whatever the fuck. You got to go through you got to get into a car or a van or something, you know. You got to speak like a little bit of Cantonese. Like there's just a little extra steps to get those things, but it's a price difference, and it's part of supporting that culture where it's like that might be the only ends for some people who have this craftsmanship skill, this eye, this attention to detail. And like that's the thing with the funny, like all the funny fakes and stuff, the bad Jordans and all stuff. People get clowned for that. I think, bro, it's going to be a flip in culture eventually where people are they're gonna want all bootleg everything. They're not gonna want fucking Nikes anymore, you know, like they're gonna want like the shit that is like a fuck you to all these corporations that have been exploiting them forever. Like, you know, that's eventually where it's gonna go, and it's gonna be like fucking everything is just mocking these big brands, and you know we're setting ourselves up for it, like with all the things, the tariffs, all the shit. We're setting it up. I see it all.
And just the dope fake is almost cooler to have. Like as a one-off.
Yeah, that's gonna be, nobody's gonna want real Supreme. No, you know, how many times these brands gonna be sold over to investment groups? 9-10 times. And their creative director that started the vision for the thing has left the company.
Yeah.
What's keeping you tied to them? You know, and when shit gets more expensive there, they're gonna want to support their homie. They're gonna just realize like, we get fucking one of us with good credit gets the shit right. We get these machines, we grind it out for a few years, we fucking get the actual means to production.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you don't actually have to, you know, that's the thing with merch and stuff and things that people that exist in music purely in this abstract, non-physical sense, like all these other aspects to it and these things that can really fund your career and like be an extension of it, you know. It's just, it's often like overlooked. But since that's the world I come from, that's like what I'm thinking of in music and shit too. It's like part of how I approach music is all like in that production mindset, you know.
Yeah. I think, I don't know, maybe that's why like most of the things that you seem to produce, like whatever, like whether it's like music or visual art, like always does feel like very like one of one to me. Like,
well, I appreciate it.
You know, like, and it's like incredible to me how prolific you continue to be. Like, it was like 3.5 years ago that we first did a podcast together.
Yeah, I was thinking it's been a while.
And I think you've put out like just Old Grape God solo records. I think you've put out like 7 records since then. In like the last like 3 years.
Right. 8 or 9. Yeah.
Yeah. And that like doesn't include like the coworker stuff or like the paint soup stuff and like yeah, it's pretty wild. And it's every day I'm thinking about this stuff and I'm doing it if I can, like recording every day and stuff. So yeah,
you know, it's and the weed, but it's the idea. It's fun.
Yeah, it's easy to stay hungry. Like you're not.
I don't get writer's block and shit. You know.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't. It's just because if you know, not feeling bars or something, that means the beat's not hitting for me in the moment. But like the shit, I'm just trying to keep up with the ideas and things. You know.
Yeah.
Trying to make it real.
Yeah, you talked about last time, like kind of going through these like creative binges, or like you were talking about, like just a bit ago of, you know, you're making a lot of music right now, and is because you go through it like that. Is there ever a time that you have to like put aside to not experience burnout, or does it not like feel like that to you?
No, I mean, like if I'm not working on music stuff, I'm trying to like do some life shit, trying to like clean my house up and like figure out clothing shit. Like I have enough like different other things that I'm interested in that keeps it so like I never get burnt out on music shit. It's just if I get too in my head about other things, you know, related to music or insecurities or whatever, like that would be the only time. But like when it comes to just making music, like I can just fucking sit down and just, all right, let's try some new shit. This beat sucks. Next one, fucking keep going till you write something. If I'm not hitting it, hit up a homie who's around, who wants to work. All right, let's fucking figure out some new shit. And so like I have enough different homies that are all trying to make stuff most of the time. And so, you know, I'm always hitting people up being like, what's good? When are we doing this? So I got duos and groups with all the different homies. So there's always something to work on. And unfortunately, that also means that I get overwhelmed and my brain just, you know, it's hard to finish things sometimes if I'm on the same page with people or people are busy lining it up. But ultimately, it's like I'm just so excited about like music constantly that I don't know. I'm not in it. Like I have such low expectations, like money and other commercial rewards from it. I'm just like so fucking excited by like the ideas, as silly as it sounds. Like I'm just fucking stoked to be just like trying to write better verses and like get better at making beats and like make shit that sounds more like me, and then just seeing what crazier shit I can say. And like it's just fun as fuck for me. So I'm just not bored with it. Like I can't get bored with music at all right now. And so I'm always like, I made a lot of music, but I'm like, it's been like that for like since fucking 2019 or whatever. So it's just, you know,
no one's forcing you to do the shit. You just want to do the shit.
Now I actually have my thing is all I've ever needed is just access to the tools and the resources and stuff. Now that I have this set up at home, thanks mostly to like homies that have given me older gear or they've been able to help, like my homie Pat Party on Mars like was able to get me my laptop that was like left over from his old job, and he was able to like get me a good laptop MacBook that like worked for it. So I was able to upgrade a bunch of this shit. You know, Skelly gave me his old Apollo, and you know, I got my speakers from my homie Russell. Like all this gear, like it's mostly just been my time and then paying the rent and keeping the place open for collaboration. So people have helped me out in these other ways with my gear and stuff. And so like, you know, I'm sharing that, and like I'm just like constantly thinking about it, you know. So that's the thing, man. If I had all these other expectations and like I was deterred by sales and shit, you know, or like this other attention things, like I just can't even keep up. Like I literally am just trying to like, I just, you know, want to finish some of these projects.
Yeah.
Make it dope.
I think you get to create from a really pure space in that when you're in that mindset of it too. When you're not worrying about those other things, the other factors of like how many people listen to this or, you know, things of that nature.
I mean, because I'll get my money and get my fucking validation, self-worth from other places, and I got, you know, good people in my life and shit, and I'm just hella grateful for like the things and just having access to things where I can get these ideas out. If I want to go record a song, like I can at any time. I can just do it. I need to make a beat, I'll make something. It might not be my best shit, but I'll make something just so I can write to it. Even if that means I'm just fucking slowing down some random soul shit, or, you know, if I'm just anything just to get some words up, and then I'm sitting there and I'm fucking writing until I get a fucking 64 down, and then I'm like, you know, recording it, and then maybe I'll forget about it. If I get really excited about it, I'll keep pushing on it. But a lot of times it's just like I have this urge to just make the things. I just like my hands busy and all the things, and so it's just fun for me. Like it, you know, it'd be cool if some of these I got some other rewards. It's, you know, but it's like, dude, just having access to the shit is like all I've ever wanted, you know.
Yeah, and you've just put so many reps into like making beats now, like producing shit. It's like I've had like the last 5 years or so just making beats. So I'm sure you're at a much different level with it than you were 3.5 years ago when I like last had you on, where everything is like more streamlined for you, and hopefully, you know, the ideas in your head are it's easier to put them into the box, actually.
Yeah, that's what gets more exciting. Every time I figure some shit out.
Yeah.
You don't know how excited I got about just getting my like shipping label printer set up finally. I've been fucking stoked. And I'm printing out different shit. I'm not just printing shipping labels. I'm printing out other stuff, you know? But I'm just like, I'm having fun. I'm playing with it. No one else would have let me do that at their office or some shit. Like, you know, here, print out a bunch of shit on the label printer. But for me, I'm like, well, the homie Tron gave me this label printer a while ago. I got to print some fucking labels. And then, you know, I'm trying out different shit and ways to do my packaging and stuff for cheap and, you know, these other ideas. And so, yeah, I'm just juiced on fucking, there's inspiration everywhere, but like, it's just trying stuff out. And I think at a point where I've just constant experimentation, that like everything is like, it's low stakes, but it's high stakes, where it's like, you realize that you can take these risks, you can try these things out. The more you do it, it's easier to like see something through kind of in a full enough way that you can actually realize if it's worth develop even more.
Yeah.
You know, the more time you put into that, where it's like other people who struggle maybe to write as quickly or make a beat as quickly, your progression is just like gonna be so much slower. And like, obviously it takes a long time to be able to like do shit quickly. But if your goal is never to like speed it up necessarily and being precious about everything, you're like not going to have any of those real, like, it's the experimentation. It's like where you get all your fucking juice. Like, there's nothing to do with like studying the things the same way, you know?
Yeah. So like, if you're struggling to finish something, is that because you have too many things happening at once?
Because I got too much other shit. Yeah.
It's not like necessarily
if I just
difficult
overbooking
to
myself,
finish that idea.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's with other people, and it's like I just always want to make sure that anybody I'm working with, like, they have input, and like that it's not something that I'm just like steamrolling and being like, you recorded a bunch of songs at my house and now we're, you know, putting it out. You know, It's like I want people to feel like involved in it, but also they have to be like equally motivated to like finish the project.
For sure.
And so it's like tons of people can come jam all the time, but like, you know, so lately I've been trying to just really encourage my homies to like take ownership over their specific skills that they have, and like their strengths, and like these things that they have put so much time and effort and money and life and care into, like prioritizing using those skills for their own growth in their art and stuff, and not just waiting for other people to pay them to do it, you know. And so that I'm just trying to encourage the homies to do those things and like explore these other avenues that like really enable them as artists to not be as limited. And like, yeah, just like trying to get the stuff done with the duos and the homies. Like, they're all like, I got projects with all my close friends and stuff, and it's like half the time we're just like kicking it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I make people fucking work on music every time we hang out. But like, you know, I respect too that I have homies that don't always, you know, they've been working all week.
Yeah.
Or they got kids, or they got fucking other responsibilities, and when they come to my house, they just want to get really fucking stoned and like fuck around a little bit, but they're not trying to like work.
Yeah.
And it's because it's like, you know, this is their chill time, and like for them, being in the studio or whatever is still more productive than being out at the bars or whatever and shit like that. So I toe a fine line in that balance where I'm like, you know, we're always going to be doing something, thinking about it. I'm always going to be talking to you about your music, our music, or whatever, music in general, art, these things. I'm always going to be pressuring my friends to be like taking their stuff seriously, but also it's that balance where it's like, you know, we're not making money off each other here. This isn't this is like, I value people's well-being first and foremost, and this is like part of a thing with Portland shit where, yeah, we get complacent, but also it's like keeping in stride what is best for people is like in their whole grand scheme, long-term life goals and needs. You know, just because you're good at something doesn't mean it's your whole shit, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure your attitude towards it and being like genuinely so fucking like stoked to make music also is part of the reason that you have all of these collaborations with your friends, because they are having so much fun in that space as well. You know, like talking to Melts, like I know that like Meltzer just like loves fucking around making music with you.
Dude, we made shit yesterday and the day before. He just, because he's the kind of person that, you know, he'll hit me up and be like, you know, yo, what's good? Just finished work. And I'll be like, yeah, I got an hour until I'm doing dinner with my partner.
Yeah.
And he's like, shit, I'll pop up. And then he'll pop in and I'm like, all right. Fucking, we smoke fucking 6 joints in an hour and like slam like 4 beers each and like, you know, and make 3 slaps that we're like, fucking hell yeah, this is like, we needed to, every time I'm like, we had to do it today. Every time that we rush a joint and we try to get some shit hella quick, it's one of our new favorite joints. We're like, yo, this is fire. How the fuck do we?
Yeah.
We did this shit in 15 minutes, you know? And like when he came over yesterday, I had already done like 5 joints and he had done 6 at home. And he's like, what's good? You know, and because I had jointsy over, you know, for a bit and, you know, and it was just like, yeah, let's keep that momentum going. We're in cooking mode. We did a bunch of shit. We did, between the two of us, we done like 5-6 shows in April, a few together and a few other on solo. And so it's just like we've been in this mode where it's like we've been doing the work related to the music. So we've been working musicians, even for whatever the bread. And then also just constantly in that trying to make shit. And yeah, he and I's like creative brains. Like he's the producer version of me, creatively, and so I feel like it works super well. We have like fucking 5 hours of like unreleased shit. Like it's just that we gotta figure out finishing those. But every time it's like, yeah, we could work on finishing shit, or like I'm feeling kind of like I might got some juice for something to do something we haven't done yet.
Well, because you can go back to the other shit, right?
Yeah, we can
you've like
always
captured
do that shit later.
You've captured that like initial idea, that spark.
Yeah,
and you can, you know, figure out how to tap back into that later.
Yeah, you know, it's do mixing and shit later. It's not crazy. It's rap. It's not like we got 15 different instruments on it. Like, if he plays bass or, you know, guitar or something, that's like a fucking us putting some extra in. But most of the time, we're just freaking in Ableton. And then it's like, you know, the things are very fluid and like improvisationally, we both have similar approaches. So, like, shit's just mad easy. Like, it is, you know, working with him. So, it's like fucking... Yeah, we just bust shit out, and it's always I'd rather make something new than do the other work. So us getting out an EP was a huge accomplishment for our collective ADHD, and I'm like, we just got to get something out, just get that momentum, because we got all these other projects like laid out.
Yeah.
But what's cool now is like when we just make new shit, we're like, do we swap this in? And so I'm like doing fantasy fucking football with my fucking projects catalog and just rearranging shit and being like, all right, this will float. This maybe is a better joint, but like this will fit this album better. And having that freedom is crazy when I'm like, dude, I got 95 songs to pick from to make a 12-track project. And I can go fully into a concept based off just knowing, tying together these different themes from these things.
Yeah, well, that's like that's creation, a whole creation process in its own, just like being a good curator for that stuff.
That shit
like
is
identifying
fun.
What does like fit together, even though it wasn't intended to fit together.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, dude, between my unreleased and released, that like line is like so fluid and abstract for me because I've been performing. There's songs I've been performing for fucking years that I haven't dropped yet, and in my mind they're out. But like
Just
because
because
I've been performing
them,
a bunch, you know. But like you know, I eventually got to put them out in these other contexts. But for me, they're living.
Yeah.
And so sometimes those things like a joint, I don't have to refine it all the way to go play it at Hungry Hip Hop or something, you know. It's like I can go do that, feel it out, and then by the time that like you know, I'm ready to drop it, my ability to perform that song is like way better than when I wrote it and recorded it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Also sick that you're just like, you know, both of you are like, we have an hour to make music, and that is going to force some different type of creativity because you have that time constraint, you know.
Yeah.
Probably going to produce some different stuff than when you had the whole 4 to 6 hours to hang out and make music together.
Yeah. And you know, and that's the thing, man, like with anybody and how I am, like all my shit set up, like you know, you just gotta pull up on me and do it. And like, cause I can't say no to those things. And it's like, unless I got plans with my partner or I got some other work I got to do, I'm always like, yep, let's fucking get it. Especially if it's somebody who like I really respect or know that we can make good shit, and I don't have to do any extra work to bring it out of them, you know. And with all my homies now, it's like we spent so much time working together. Each one of my different friends, we have different you know, working relationships, creative relationships, and then we all work with each other, and I know how everybody works. I know how to mix their vocals and do this and that, and I'm just trying to, all they got to do is just be in the room with me and come ready to write, and you know, and so we make so much shit just out of kicking it, you know.
Yeah. Do you think it was helpful for you, like finding that collaboration with Melts at like this point, like maybe a couple years ago when you guys started making a lot of stuff together, when you already got some time in yourself to work on your production skills?
Yeah, that's huge too. Like being that I was in a you know, I was a self-reliant rapper by the time that I started working with Meltzer. So knowing where it was like I can make beats that are I'm pleased enough rapping on, where I'm like, I'm still good. I'll put my verses on this even if it doesn't sound as good as a Meltzer beat or whatever, you know, because it's part of a creative vision I can get out. Getting to that point and then working with him, where then now I can give input in ways in the production and have these ideas, and I love like fucking up loops and adding these little details and these other little like touches and Easter eggs into things like that. I love doing that shit. I did that a lot with like the Big Flowers project, and like playing with those to add these little details where it's like I'm not great at writing melodies or bass lines or harmonies or anything like that, but I can do these other details that just make it a little bit special.
Yeah.
And so that's what's fun. And that Meltzer, because he's always just fucking down, and I'm trying to throw random ass fucking samples at him and be like, you know, I need you to do this fucking Cambodian funk joint and like mix this with a Godsmack song, like give you a sample from fucking, you know, some 10cc shit, some Weird Al shit, and then like, you know, some Capone and Noriega, you know. There's just like, I'll just throw some random shit, rhythm roulette at him, and we're just doing that shit just for the challenge, like for fun, not for the content, you know what I mean? And I think that like you can't get any of those moments that people now are trying so hard to capture that in time, you know, or force those creative moments. And it just, you have to just be fucking around like a fair amount to like have any of that shit happen.
Just playing
And like genuinely trying to have fun with your process is like the only way that you will fucking have any breakthroughs. Like, and that takes discipline with your like spirit to be focused on like the enjoyment part of it, because if you're not enjoying it, you will not have any creative breakthroughs. That's the thing. Like, I'm fucking shit's just fun for me, you know?
Yeah.
And so like I can't like nothing's like that bad, you know?
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna be that bad of a song because it's like even I get this idea, I'm like, well, it's usually something obvious that's wrong with it. I'm not gonna be toiling over it and being like, well, you know, second verse, this bar's kind of weak. I think it's holding back the whole song, or, you know, this hook isn't strong enough. I need 3 more guitar players and a chorus in here. Like, nah, it's just my ideas and this fucking beat me and Meltzer made on the spot, you know, whatever. But because I've written so many songs, like, it's now like trying to express these things and get hyper specific and then do it in different ways and then lock it. And it's, I mean, Meltzer's production like changed my rapping.
Yeah, I was curious about that. If you feel like it really like brings something out different in you.
It was the first. He's the first producer that like the pockets he kind of that I infer from his rhythms and shit. Just like it just what worked for me for like my kind of looseness, but also like super dense shit. And things where I can be elastic and float and bounce, but I can always like still land back on his shit, you know. So that's been really cool. And just like when you lock in with somebody who, you know, has spent that much time producing and shit, you know, there's like just little subtleties about the pace and these decisions that they make that I'm not even necessarily aware of, but it informs like what I hear when I'm writing to it.
Yeah.
And there's always something that'll jump out to me. And he's just good at creating, like, giving me enough space to, like, do the thing, but keeping the texture there. So that's really cool. And then, you know, there'll be joints for sure, too, where we're going through the stuff. And I'll be like, what about this one? I like my verse on this. He's like, nah, my beat's not the best on there. So sorry, bud. We're not doing that one. And I'm like, well, you know, I gotta respect that too. You're not fucking just letting me run with any beats. Like it has to. He knows how to fucking be, you know, disciplined about this shit works. Both things are working here, you know.
Yeah.
Because for me, my ear musically, I'll be like, bro, if I said some shit on there that I didn't say, you know, if there's one bar on it that I'm stoked on, I'm like, yeah, I gotta run this shit. Like I say that one thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still got to keep it music. And so it's good to have somebody who's like very musical to balance out my like fucking more abstract literal shit.
Keep you in check a little bit.
Yeah.
Just be like, no, this one's not it. You know?
It's good, but it's just fun, man. That's the thing. Just fucking people you can get along with. It's like so important.
Yeah.
For the shit. Because I'm like, dude, yeah, no one's forcing me to do any of this shit.
And then that, you know, sparks all this other bootleg stuff like you're talking about with the coworker stuff.
It all ties in, man. That's the thing. Like I do the things by my gut, and then I have a lot of fun connecting the dots and like weaving it and making everything feel serendipitous.
Yeah.
And you know, just it's all the beautiful part of enjoying and experiencing life. And art and having these things, these avenues to like express, it's just like it's fucking dope.
Yeah, and you create a whole world with it if you want.
Cheap seats, I swing. I need a break. I don't lucid dream. Go run a marathon off a short dock. If you ever think I'm clocking out, I'm locked in. You locked out. I don't dwell on wins. It's on to the next thing I put out. I put out so much fucking music, you would think it was all I do. If all you do is tough talk, that real love gon' run off. I make my own drip or rock the homie shit. I don't wanna settle for runoff. I hope they clone me, then I could trust an employee. Until then, I got 100 too many jobs. Until then, I got 100 too many jobs.
I know you said you're on your writer's block, so just creating in general, like where do you find the frustrations? Because I can't imagine that it's like, I know you have fun and you're getting off your ideas and, you know, you're putting in the work, but like what frustrations are you running into, like being an artist?
The same frustrations I have being a person, you know. I just blame it on the art at the wrong times sometimes, and I think that's everybody's fucking problem. if I'm feeling insecure in life, if art and music is my favorite, most important thing that I put all my shit into, and I start blaming the art or music for things not going well, that's a normal bad reaction, but that is the things that plague musicians and artists and stuff, and that insecurity. I'm like, you're not, this is your thing. This is, and I have to remind myself all the time, like, this is the thing you care the most about. Like, you fucking are not fucking around. Like, you're putting the effort in, you're doing the things that feel right to you. Anytime you're feeling weird about it is because you as a whole person is not at peace and not like doing what you need to be doing in life outside of the studio and all that. You can be a genius in the studio, fucking dumbass outside of it. And I think that's when those things overlap, the interpersonal stuff, the other complications with things, those are the only things that really fuck with the music. It's not the music itself, because like being good or bad at making music matters not that much in the scheme of like, in the grand scheme of things, with being a person that people want to support, being a person that people want to see succeed and get inspired by and excited to see and want to recommend you for opportunities. That has so much more to do with personality than the skill, because you can be the most skilled at this thing, piss somebody off 1, 2 times, 3 times, and they're just gonna hit up the second best person,
Yeah, man,
for the jobs and shit. And it's being able to take that shit in stride with your artistic growth, and knowing that your growth as a person, while it can go parallel and hand in hand with your creative growth, there are things that you cannot overcompensate for in your art or your music that you can skip in the life part. And that is like the biggest fucking thing that I've learned growing up and going through it, where it's like fucking, okay, you try so fucking hard to put it all into your art music. I'm gonna be the best rapper ever. And then once you start telling people I'm the fucking best, then it shows you're just not growing at that time. And why would you want to be the best? I was putting a song the other day, like, if I'm the best, you have to kill me. Because it's like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody who's going to want to take you down when you position yourself as somebody who's better than those other people. And that is like the biggest thing. You run into egos and shit where it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be confident in your ability to perform and adapt and react and grow and do the art and create. You should be confident in your ability to create, not confident in what you've created. That's like where people get fucked up. It's like it's a muscle, it's a skill that you're able to do this thing. All the things that you have done before that have all been circumstantial, and sometimes you get favors, things work out in your favor. These actions, when things work out, are not more valuable than the actions of when they fail. And so people want to skip that shit all the fucking time, and then they'll be a fucking asshole because one time someone told them they were nice at what they do.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, you're just fucking taking money out of your own pocket, and we all get guilty of it, and especially rap shit. Like, there's so much fucking contradictory, code in the shit. But ultimately, it's like, do what's right for you for your life. And when people run these problems, it's because art is not their life the way they think it is, or the way that they want it to magically become their life. And when you are genuinely stoked and trying to do this shit all the time, like, that's why I'm not worried about shit right now, because I'm like, fucking, you can't take away, you can't like force, you can't fake fucking the joy that I get from this shit.
Yeah.
Fucking,
Yeah.
Like, I just ride around listening to my shit.
You can see it. I don't know. You can just see it in the expressions that it brings out in you, talking to you about it.
Yeah.
You like know that it's real, like,
yeah, dude. Because
in you.
I get emotional about this shit at my house by myself.
Yeah.
10 a.m. I'm fucking swigging the heme, fucking rapping about this and that, because like just because I woke up in a good mood, my girl made me some fucking Cuban coffee, and I fucking went to the studio before I showered and started making a beat. I do shit, and I'm like, well, I got 1 bar, and then I got 2 bars. I got a joint. Then I see how can I rap it, you know? And it's just that feeling. It's just, I don't know. It's fluid, and it's just how I want to live, and part of these daily life actions that I want to like just be my existence. You know?
Yeah, and you don't need anybody to be like, Tron's the best. You can be like, Tron's good at what he does, and he's a good hang, and he's a good dude.
Yeah, or say one thing that I did that you liked.
Yeah.
You know, when I do it, but don't tell me about that shit 7 years. No, I'm just. It's like, yeah, ultimately, you know, I'm beyond this. I don't have these fucking big expectations. Like it's I don't want to limit myself. I think I've been playing in the Portland humble of things, just by knowing that there's only so many opportunities here and all that stuff, you know. But music's a global thing. You never know with stuff, but ultimately just like really trying to be appreciative and grateful for the opportunities and the resources now that I've been working since I started to like be in a position to just do what I want to do when I want to do it creatively.
Yeah.
If I don't have that freedom outside the studio or the rest of life, you know, so be it. But like doing that is everything, you know?
Yeah. And you got this, seems like you have this engine inside of you to just want to keep learning to, you know, be able to use the things you have access to, you know, like you're talking about learning how to use all these embroidery machines properly. And,
yeah,
you know, it's like you're not taking those opportunities for granted.
No. And like, you know, I used to work, I told you when I got here, I used to work at a leather goods company right around here, and their warehouse was there when I got fired from them, or laid off, I guess. That was before, you know, that was the last job I had. And then I went straight into painting, art, music shit full time, and just being broke as fuck. But like committing to it, as that was the thing. After I got laid off from there, I was so mad that like, so they could just take that away after I'd spent all these years, like caring so much about like learning leather craft and shit. I didn't expect that. I just, one way I let it in there, I started when I was 19, and I was like the only person in their workshop. And I fucking, you know, put all this time in, and they kept on saying that creatively I'd have these opportunities and this and that dangling as a carrot over me, knowing that I'm a highly creative person. I'd be driven by that potential opportunity. Then I get laid off. And so I'm like, fuck that. I'm going full painting. And so then once I became okay with being fucking poor, just knowing that like I had that much time to be working on art, and then also flexibility to be there for my family or friends when they need me on an odd fucking Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's not like, yeah, no, I'm at work 9 to 5, and then I'm fucking sleeping 3 hours a night, and I'm fucking drinking and smoking like crazy when I'm not there, because like I can afford to, and because like I have this structure that like I just have to get there, you know? And so after that, I learned that everything was fucking, if you're not working on lifelong skills that you can use in multiple contexts, that is not relying on gatekeepers to let you in there. Like that's the thing. So then with the embroidery stuff, I not wanted to waste that, and I genuinely like am trying to like help out the Trailblazing brand as much as possible in all the ways that I can, like from digitizing aspects and like trying to increase quality and whatever, because I take a ton of pride in that from a craftsman standpoint. And then learning things through trying out my shit on my ideas, where I'm like, fortunately let me, you know, use machines for my ideas, and then I'm able to take these risks on stuff where it's like, this is my brand name on there, so I'm going to try out this technique for it. I'm going to put on this hat. I'm going to use these colors that are different, you know, these things, these little decisions that's trying. And then when I have those breakthroughs, then I bring it to the brand, if I get a process, you know, to help them out and be like, yo, we should try this. And I don't think people are doing this yet, you know? And it's that creative angle that like people need in production and in manufacturing and stuff. You need that element. And so, you know, just trying to like keep that grand scheme where it's like, I know this, if I learn this embroidery shit, it's not just this shop, you know. I could go into any shop that has these top of the line machines and know how to operate them.
Yeah.
You know, and that is like how clothes are made. And I like clothes and I like designing shit. So if I know the sausage is made, then like, you know, I get to try out some new shit.
Yeah. And get to like contribute your voice to maybe like increasing quality, like you're saying, or helping somebody else's process.
Well, and there's not usually going to be someone like me in those settings.
Right.
With access to those things. And that's the biggest thing that, like, you know, I don't take for granted, is that like you're not getting, because most of the people that are in that manufacturing it's just a labor job to them. And then there are people that, you know, the people that run the print shops and the embroidery shops, they're super on the details and these things, but they also have to maintain a business level of, you know, output and machine efficiency and stuff.
Yeah.
And they have to take shortcuts in these other ways. When you have access to machines, you can be like, well, I'm going to run this at the fucking slowest speed because I can today. So I'm going to let this shit run at this. Whereas if you're hiring out, you got to order 36 of them shits and fucking they're going to be running at 1,000 RPM and like the quality's going to be a little fucked up, but they only have to have 60% of them good quality to technically meet their goals. And like you would do somewhere else, but that mean you go overseas and then like, you know, this and that. And there's all these other things when you don't have access. So that I'm trying to not take for granted. And then, you know, eventually, like if I had fucking $1 million, I'd spend, you know, 100,000 on embroidery, you know, just on buying embroidery machines. And that, you know, that's how much I like believe in that type of stuff. And, you know, 200,000 on music, maybe, you know, and $20 on painting, cause you don't need.
So are you enjoying, you know, these projects where maybe someone's like contracting you to embroider maybe a design that you didn't necessarily make, or, you know?
It depends. I try to not really do that unless it's for like homies. It depends. But yeah, ultimately if someone hits me up and it's something we can collaborate on, that's fun. But you know, it's like, yeah, I have to find that line where it's like, I don't want people just use me for that access too, where it's like, I need to be making money for the brand.
For sure.
And shit, you know? So, to keep the lights on, to keep the machine there and keep that resource there. So, yeah, you know, but, it depends. It's a situation, but I always like, end of the day, no matter what I'm doing with like art and commissions, things like that, when people have me paint things that I'm not really that stoked on, it's just a challenge. It's like everything is an opportunity to like learn something that you wouldn't normally do. And sometimes, yeah, if you don't like the shit, it's like, that's even better, because you're like, how do I make this interesting to me?
Yeah. And how do you like bring that same quality to what you would do with something you're super passionate about?
And yeah, that's, everything is an exercise, a chance. You know, I'm doing the stuff for like Trailblazer for the brand. When I do all their embroidery, I'm like, I'm trying to make their shit super like the highest quality, because it's their machines, it's their brand. That's how I'm getting the access. So like, that's my top priority, is their shit, you know, being quality. And then my stuff, I give a little bit more leeway on the things where I'm like, if it's not as good, I know I can just give it to a homie. It's like, nah, I'm not burning, you know, the things. I can just like give it away as free swag or whatever. So yeah, but yeah, the craftsman stuff, because that's just how you get those muscles, where it's like, that's the thing, when people get lazy about their process and shit, like if you're lazy every time, then you're not training those muscles. And if you put the effort into fucking doing it right every time, then it's easy to do it right most of the time without the things, you know. And so
yeah, there's something different firing in your brain when you're like stoked about what you're doing, or like trying to get the best out of it, versus like just going through the motions and maybe being a little lazy with it.
Yeah. And you know, that happens, but you got to just be like fucking constantly auditing yourself and checking yourself of like, am I doing this thing because I have to? Am I dragging my feet through this shit because it's just bad for your whole spirit? You know what I mean? You can tell when people got jobs that they hate, and it's like, bro, this is like, you spend 40 hours doing this, you fucking hate it, and then you spend maybe 3 hours a week doing shit you care about, if even, you know, because you're just vegging out every night after work. You have no other things you're trying to do. You have your basic needs met, but you spend so much time not doing what you want to do, that your whole spirit's just off. So then when you try to do the thing you want to do, you're trying to fucking make a hit song that's gonna fucking get you to get that, you know, quit the grocery store or whatever the fuck. And it's like, dog, you're not even anywhere putting your foot in the water here. You're not making the time at all. And that's like the thing. Like, if you want to make dope music, you will make dope music, and I will find out about you. I will hear about you. Someone will tell me about you if you were making dope shit. Like, people get really confused in their attention seeking versus validation shit, where it's like, dude, like, you've been half-ass rapping or making beats for 16 years or some shit, you know, since you were a teenager. You thought you were ill since then. Your mentality's been the same then. That's like, all these people are like this, and then they're like, resent all these people that get other things happen, but they're taking risks. These other people are taking risks that you're not, and like, that's something you always gotta like keep in perspective. It's like, it's always someone taking more risks, and already have more advantage than you, maybe.
Or maybe taking more advantage of the time they have. If you have that same amount of time, you know, there's someone out there really pushing the limits of it. I think when we last talked on the mics, Defenseless had just come out.
Oh shit.
I think that's like accurate to the timeline. Do you feel like your approach to writing lyrics has changed much in the last few years, or with each project, or does it relatively like feel the same to you?
I mean, like, Melts for Beats, rapping on better beats and different beats, it's changed it for sure. I think maturing as a person, and these kind of just the things that I'm thinking about, the words, because I'm always, you know, I'm like never trying to reuse bars. And when you've written like, so like, I write so much, and every song and every verse is like so dense, and it's like very normal for me to just do a song is just me 3 minutes straight rapping, and like it's getting that. And then fortunately I get high enough that I'll be forgetting if I said something before. I'll hear an old song and I'll be like, God damn it, I just like put that bar into a fucking song like yesterday. I thought I was being slick, but you know, but I wouldn't say like my writing process, other than just like I'm faster now. I'm just like fucking, I'm so fast. Like, that's it now. And that I can rhyme way fast. Like I can anticipate my kind of like rhythms and pockets like a lot more now. And I also my like delivery, I have way more confidence and comfort in that, in just like how I'm recording, I mean, honestly, the game changer was since I started recording. I take a Poem like Hennessy before every take. Like, I take a sip of him. You hear the cork.
That's why we always hear the cork.
You hear the cork. Like, I hit every single take. It's since Cognac Acrobatics. And like, but that it changes. It's a little bit. There's just that edge was always off. And so it's part of my ritual. I have a ritual to it. You know, Pat giving me the better computer definitely helped. So my shit sounds better and sounds more true to how it actually sounds when I'm hearing it, when I'm working on it. That helps. My ability to engineer and like record myself and like my ears getting better, change my recording and my writing. Like, all these things are all part of it. And like, you know, and then spending more time with me and Slick and Milk and shit, just enjoying C and Brax and Fees, you know, like all my friends that I spent a lot of time with, they all influence me. We all influence each other and shit. And like, you know, shit just keeps falling out of my chef pants. These fucking pockets. But you know, all my friends and collaborators, they're all like influencing. We're all trying to fucking say crazier shit, say shit that each other hasn't said.
Yeah.
And because we're all saying wild shit in wild ways, it just means that it gets to a certain point where like we'll be in the studio and it's just like kind of this like, all right, how far can we push it while still being like, you know, we're not going to lose our girlfriends or wives. You know what I mean? Like these things where it's like, how far can we push it without fucking our shit up? You know? And that's like that level of like the humor and the like genuine chemistry that I have with the people that I work with. All that's very fluid. I'm in a very, you know, I'm just grateful that it's taken a long time of working with people and finding the people you work with and you're naturally drawn to. But like, when I'm always I'm always at home. I'm always recording at the Marble Top in my house, in my robe, or fucking in my heme with my cat, with my friends, with, you know, in this environment that I've been cultivating and slowly improving the space and slowly doing this and that, but spending so much time in there where it's fluid. It's like me being in a fucking sensory deprivation tank when I'm in there, you know? And so it's just like, it's so natural for me now, that whole process. There's no barriers. And so, yeah, I'm writing as quick as possible. I got multiple projects and multiple producers that I just bang them shits out. I was like, send me a pack of beats. I rap on every beat that they fucking send me. I got this whole fucking, all these demos set out. And I'm like, well, I got to do more shit with Meltzer. Well, I'll get back. I got to finish this later. But like, I'll knock them shits out in 3 days and then have a project done to finish later, you know. And it's but writing on my phone, I used to write everything by hand, and while I appreciated the, you know, idealism of that approach, it also, now writing on my phone, I'm like able to just fucking go turbo and like,
Yeah.
I can see this shit later. So then people see me recording, it's just a fucking brick, like, you know, a text up there. But I'm like, you know, I can pack all this shit in there, and then I can just fucking, if I have unlimited fucking, if I go into a verse and it's like, if I fucking covered 30 seconds of time on the song, that's great for most verses, you know, for people. But if I got fucking, you know, 90 bars and only what's required of me is like a 16 to 32, and if I go fucking rapid fire and I'm just able to fucking spit all these different things and just fucking go turbo on it, that shit's fun as fuck for me.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I love Sugar Free and shit, where it's like these fucking things where it's like, what we do with fucking 15 seconds is not what other people are doing with 15 seconds, you know? Packing all that extra shit in where you got to run it back. That shit's just fun to me, you know? Not rapping fast for the sake of like rapping fast in this fucking, it's like literally just like, boom, you know? Okay.
This is everything inside of me right now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me pack this in the amount of time that I can keep your attention, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think that's, you know, thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about today earlier, and just been listening to the music a lot, and the Timu Death Grips has been kind of in the regular rotation since you and Melts put that out. But I love your music more with each listen, because things are so dense that it's like, it's almost like listening to a jazz record where I'm like picking up on something new each time. And I just think that makes the listening experience so fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. And that's like what we hope for.
Yeah.
You know, that's a thing that I've struggled with, or just, you know, I'm always thinking about is like the attention span and how much you'll give it. Because I know that I struggle to give things full attention that's not the stuff that I'm directly involved with or what I'm working on. So I'm always like, what people are gonna, well, yeah, I listen to the whole album, but like nobody's gonna listen to the whole album. But if they do, there's gonna be all this shit in there, you know. I'm like, it's easy to forget that people do engage with my art in the way that I would ideally have them do it, you know?
Yeah.
Listen to the first time, be like, what the fuck was that? All right, next track, what the fuck was that? Then go back, this one I liked, this one didn't work for me, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But all those things, like all these little details I'm packing in there because I spend so much time on it. That's the thing. I'm so hands-on on every step of the process that it's like, you know, all that stuff that I pack in there, I hope that at least one person experiences it. But now I'm so used to just packing all that shit in and just like letting it go.
Yeah.
And just being like, well, maybe someone will talk to me about it. Maybe they'll, you know, because you never know. There's times where people will come up to me and say some shit where it'd be like, this one song, you say this one thing, and I was on the fucking train one time when I was doing this job, and it's just like, I was listening to this project a bunch, and this one thing you say is like fucking funny as fuck to me, that, you know, and it's like I had to run it back, or like you got me grinning, and shit, and like that's the stuff that I'm like, yeah, okay, so the whole project, all the things that I had time and I put into putting the whole project that moment existed on was worth it for that encompassing moment, you know.
Well, and it's cool to, you know, when you are evoking that sort of emotion where people are like laughing and grinning, because that's kind of the spirit in which it was made.
Yeah, I want you to be like, you know, happy with the clever, with like, with that, it should just been clever, you know.
Yeah.
But in a way that doesn't make you feel dumb. That's my biggest thing, is like humor and stuff is like a reflection of me treating you like you are intelligent enough to get where I'm coming from. And I'm making a lot of assumptions that you have the emotional fucking depth or whatever, the compassion to want to find what is funny to me here too, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like how I talk to my audience. And that's a thing that I feel like people aren't always used to in music. I guess I don't want to be fucking pretentious about it, but like I feel like a lot of times there's other times indie rap or shit that is like super niche and informed and, or I say overeducated, you know, shit where it's like you had to read hella different this and that, and it's not talking about life experiences, it's talking about like your fucking one class that you took, the one that like everybody who took that class is going to know what you're talking about, but most people who don't have $200,000 in student loans that like are going to know what you're talking about, you know. Working people won't be able to relate to that. I don't want that. I want regular shit that you're experiencing all the time to just twist it a little bit and just be able to be like, I'm on the bus with you, but I'm looking at that thing and you're looking at this thing. You should look at this thing because this thing's funny to me, and I'm looking at what you're looking at too, but I also, did you see this?
I caught this other thing,
you know,
and I don't think you saw it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm excited about, because I'm here with you. I'm not bringing this fucking, you know, and that's always the funny thing about my name with the Old Grape God shit and the mystical stuff in there. It's like, it's just to distract people from that, like, I'm like the most, like, I'm right here with you. I'm outside the fucking dive bar with you. I'm fucking, you know, at this manufacturing job with you. I'm fucking out doing this random job with you. You know, I'm helping paint the house. I'm fucking moving the homies' furniture. I'm doing all this shit. I'm with the people, with, you know, the people making the stuff, making the thing that everyone's trying to sell. I'm there, you know, and I think people get really hung up on these words and this other bullshit all the time. But like, it's right there with you, you know, and like, yeah, that's, I don't know. It's easy to get sidetracked on the shit when you just like do the stuff.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, I continue to be just impressed with everything that you do, or inspired rather, you know. It's very cool to just like continue to see what you're doing, like whether it's the music shit or the visual art, painting, and all the embroidery work is very cool, man.
I hope I can keep all my limbs and eyes, and you know, I just need the things to be able to do the stuff, and like, you know, just hope that keep people healthy and all that stuff.
Yeah,
the life things, you know, I'm grateful for.
Yeah,
learning this shit, because fucking dude, if I was like super successful early in my 20s and shit, I would fucking suck right now, you know.
Yeah. I
think about that a lot.
I think about that to some different degrees as well, where it's, I don't know, it's kind of nice that you've put in like so much work into all this stuff, obviously because you're passionate about it, but it does seem like if the right things popped off, however, you would be like you're going to be prepared for whatever moments come at you.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
You know?
good, bro. If someone want to be like, I need you in the studio with so and so or whatever, I'll be like, yeah, I fucking. If there's beats playing and I'm allowed to write and record, I will fucking knock the shit out. I'll write you 10 songs in fucking few hours. Let me get a little heme and, you know, if I'm comfortable, you know.
Yeah.
But that could be with anybody if they had the same open-mindedness or approach, energy-wise, you know. I'm not worried about that. If anybody needed me to design some shit to embroider these things, I could, you know, do it. And it's like, but in the meantime, I just want to make sure I'm using that for fucking my people.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you jumping.
Dude, thanks
back
so
on
much
the
for
mics
having
with
me.
I'm glad that we got to do a proper episode 444.
Yeah, I didn't want to impose, but I was like, you know, for me, I gotta be. I was like, I think enough time's passed. Like,
honestly, like, yeah, like I've been wanting to have you back on anyways, just because I feel like so much has happened, and also coming to your place that last time, that was like the first time you and I ever hung. So like, it's nice that there's a little more like familiarity between us.
No, I see you
now, and like, I also love that you reached out about like the 444 thing, because like I like when people,
because I was like, I gotta
think about those
dope
things.
as fuck that you've gotten to 444 by now.
It's
like,
crazy.
Shit. I'm like, dude, that's really impressive. And when I saw Meltzer do it, I was like, damn, you were so close. And I was like, well, if he ain't got nobody, like, it's only, I feel this is one point where I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say it.
It's kind of like a beautiful, like, unplanned thing too, that, you know, I would have your close collaborator on 443, like, not thinking about that at all, and setting it up for this. And I think it like makes it a special thing. Like, I don't have like too many of those little things. Like, I don't know, I've done pretty much every episode that ends in 18 with Bryson the Alien.
Oh, nice.
Because he came on episode 18 and he was like, when 118 came around, he was like, yo, if you don't have anybody for 118, I'd really like to be that person.
Nice.
And now we've like set this tradition, you know, for as long, you know, God willing.
Like, every 100,
you know,
why not?
It's kind of like a fun thing. So
in,
like,
you know?
it made me excited that you put it out there.
Yeah,
you know, I was like, yeah, like, let's fucking do this.
Well, that's part of me taking ownership, where I would have been jealous if somebody else, or you had someone else. I didn't know. I'm like, you put this fool on.
Irrelevant to the
you
number
let this
too.
Fool take it. All right then, Dan Cable. All right then, I'll see you at the next fucking Mississippi Pizza. I'm fucking go stand and smoke the other end of the block. Yeah, no, I appreciate you, bro. It's fucking fun hanging out, and do your spaces. Great.
Thanks,
and
man.
You have a painting I forgot that you had.
Yeah,
in here.
dude. Yeah.
That's why I love fucking be like, oh yeah, he's got one.
Very, very hyped to put that up in the space, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, it's an honor to be on the walls.
I'll put all the links in the episode notes so people can keep up with everything you're doing. This is a little bit of an older track, but a track that has become a staple of a lot of my DJ sets, and just one of my all-time favorite Old Grape God tracks is Funks for Funk's Sake.
Oh yeah, shout out to Evangel.
Just a absolute banging track, so I want to play the episode out with that one.
Hell yeah, great choice.
And like I said, all the links will be in the episode notes, so you can keep up with this dude. Tron, we end every episode of the podcast saying the tagline for the show, which is "It's a program." So if we could get the Old Grape God, it's a program, we can properly end this thing. It's the one time I'll ask you to look into that camera there, and you can deliver it however you would like.
This is Tron, aka Old Grape God, and you are watching a program.
He nailed it, everybody. You know, watching, listening. Either way,
even
it's a
if
program.
you're hearing, you're watching.
Yeah.
That's how visual we are. That's how colorful our language is, baby. These other podcasts, bro, they rely on the visual aspect. You know, this is just supplemental for us. That's why I say watch.
Yeah, we, you know, I started just with the audio, and now
look at you.
Yeah, look,
studio.
Look at me now. Yeah. All right, man. This has been super fun. Thanks for doing it. And that's the Jelly Jams. And we will catch you on the flip side, Portland, or wherever you are listening, watching.
Funk for funk's sake.
Cool.
Got tuxedo cat, I'm smoking skunk, man. Send my formula, if you will. You a fashion killer, you cop swag, okay, I design it. I'm a Christopher Adorner. You might not have a badge, but you acting like a piglet. Caleb Angel sent the pack, and I already knew the angle of attack. 14 carats dangling from the tortoise nose. Woke up scatting, so I had to shit on them all day. Woke up scatting, so I had to shoot bop on them all day. I don't do the ever rhyme scheme. I'm in the discotheque, disassociating. You think me going this hard would be more motivating, but envy's a faster rule. I don't do pop, I boil out the toxins, hot shit. Doing features from Alberta to Austria. Half Asian grinding like I'm Eric Costin. Still ain't been to the motherland, but white people keep telling me to visit. Grandpa says I'll get robbed. My aunt says I could be an actor there. We'll have to wait for the world tour to see. Ain't go on vacation till I'm proud of my home. This that funk, wafted up from the sewers. I'm it, but they won't tag me.